TPP is, of course, very important. We're talking here about a market of 800 million people. It represents 40% of global GDP, some $27 trillion in economic activity. It's very important that Canada be part of that. However, we will not sign on unless the deal is good for Canadians.
Well, why not get into that? Will there be compensation for the provinces? Is that something you're considering as finance minister that you're going to have to budget for?
I don't have any comment on that because I don't have any comment on the final deal. As you know, in these trade deals, nothing is agreed to until everything's agreed to, and so there's very important negotiation going on now, and Minister Ed Fast is there to represent Canada.
But for planning purposes, do you not have to include that in your budgeting plan? You're the Minister of Finance moving forward. Would you not have to include that?
We of course consider all these issues.
Minister, should the Conservative government be permitted to negotiate a TPP deal so close to an election day when there's a possibility of a new government?
Well, there is a protocol in place, and we of course consult with the Privy Council on these issues when there's a matter of importance or urgency for the government to deal with in the national interest. Then it's appropriate for us to do that, and this is certainly one of those cases.
Does this violate the conventions of having a caretaker government during an election?
Absolutely not at all.
Stephanie? Yes. CP?
Hi, Minister. Just to follow up on Brian's question, the caretaker convention states that if a government is negotiating something that would bind a future government, it ought to consult with the other parties to inform them of what they could be committing their government to. So has your government been consulting with the NDPs or the Liberals on these negotiations?
Well, I think that the convention, as I understand it, is that we can proceed if there's a matter of urgency and importance, and we're doing that.
And just to follow up on GDP numbers then, I mean, you talked about growth being high, but a lot of the growth is attributed to the oil sands coming back on track after manufacturing shutdowns, recovery after the forest fires, growth from the Pan Ams and the FIFA World Cup. Those aren't long-lasting growth objectives. Those are something that happen in a current state of time. So can you really characterize the economy as actually growing?
Well, yes, I can. I mean, the economy is growing, and there are current factors because this is current growth, but they're enduring factors, and the employment is enduring. The manufacturing growth is enduring. The exports are very significant. A couple of months ago, it was the biggest export number we've seen in 9 years. I prefer to see the glass 80% full rather than 20% empty.
And just finally on the TPP, how important is it to you, to your government, to get it signed this week? And would you be prepared to walk away if necessary?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, well, what I have said is this is a very important deal, but we're not going to go ahead with it if it isn't in the interest of Canada, and that, of course, relates to the specific negotiation that is going on. I mean, it's not unusual at the final stages of a negotiation that some of the most important and thorny issues are being discussed.